The universe is 13.8 billion years old. It holds 2 trillion galaxies, and each of those galaxies contains hundreds of billions of stars. The raw mathematics of probability tell us that we cannot be alone. Yet, despite all those worlds, we hear absolutely nothing. The sky is entirely silent, except for one night in August 1977. At the Big Ear radio telescope in Ohio, a computer was quietly scanning the skies. No humans were watching in real time, just a machine, listening to the dark. Then a massive surge of energy arrived from deep space. It was incredibly powerful, 8 times stronger than the background noise of the universe. It lasted for exactly 72 seconds, and then it disappeared completely. 3 days later, astronomer Jerry Eman was reviewing the computer printout from that night. He was staring at pages and pages of numbers, which was mostly just the random noise of space. Then his eyes caught a sequence of numbers and letters so perfectly structured that he stopped reading. He picked up his red pen, circled the data, and in the margin, he wrote a single word: wow. That specific piece of paper still exists today. For nearly 50 years, the brightest scientific minds have rigorously analyzed it, and they have failed to prove that the data came from a natural source. It remains our most compelling piece of evidence that someone else might be out there. You might wonder why a message from another world would last exactly 72 seconds. The answer is that the signal didn't necessarily stop at that exact moment. That duration was actually a mechanical limit of the telescope itself. This animated diagram illustrates how the Big Ear telescope actually functioned. The massive dish was fixed in place on the ground. To scan the sky, it had to rely entirely on the Earth's rotation to sweep its listening window across the stars. Because of the speed the Earth turns, a specific fixed point in deep space will remain inside that listening window for a maximum of 72 seconds before the planet simply rotates away from it. As the signal entered the edge of the telescope's view, the intensity of the data rose, peaked perfectly in the dead center of the 72-second window, and smoothly fell as the Earth kept turning. This perfect bell curve proves the energy was beaming from a static, stationary point in space. By tracing that geometry backward, astronomers located the origin point. It came from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius. But when we look at that specific patch of space, we find a void. There are no known stars, no known planets, and no known natural sources capable of producing a radio burst. The signal didn't switch off after 72 seconds. Our telescope simply turned away. We are completely blind to what happened in the 73rd second. If we look closely at the specific characters inside Jerry Eman's red circle, we can see exactly what kind of energy hit the dish. The signal arrived on a very specific frequency, 1,420 megahertz. In radio astronomy, a frequency is the specific channel a signal is broadcasting on. 1,420 megahertz is the natural resonant frequency of hydrogen, meaning it is the exact radio channel this element naturally emits in space. This data visualization shows why that number is so important. Space is incredibly loud, filled with chaotic radio noise, but the 1420 megahertz channel is relatively quiet. Because hydrogen is the most common element in the universe, scientists had long predicted that any intelligent civilization trying to broadcast across the stars would use this exact frequency as a universal language. And right on that quiet channel, the WOW signal produced a massive spike. It hit the Earth at 8 times the intensity of the normal background noise of space. The specific frequency, the intense volume, and the exact 72-second bell curve duration matched every single theoretical characteristic that astronomers had established for an intentional artificial alien broadcast. The data perfectly aligned with our own mathematical theories of how first contact would look. It is simply too perfectly structured to be easily written off as a random burp of cosmic static. For decades, the scientific community has aggressively tried to find a natural explanation for this event. They have pointed to comets, to spinning pulsars, and vast clouds of hydrogen gas, trying to find a match. In 2016, a team of researchers announced they had finally found the culprit. They claimed a passing comet, known as Christensen, had released a cloud of gas that triggered the signal. The internet celebrated, and many declared the mystery solved. But other astronomers quickly tested the math, and the theory fell apart. Comets simply do not emit hydrogen signals at the extreme concentrated intensity recorded by the Big Ear telescope in 1977. To this day, after decades of forensic testing and continuous observation, we have never found a single natural phenomenon that can replicate the exact data signature Jerry Eamon circled in red ink. The rigorous process of scientific elimination has failed to provide a solid alibi. Every natural explanation has been disproven, leaving an intentional, artificial broadcast as the only piece of evidence still sitting on the table. Since that night in Ohio, we have pointed our most advanced modern telescopes precisely at that patch of Sagittarius. We have listened for weeks, months, and years, but over the last 5 decades, we have recorded absolute, unbroken silence. This timeline map shows the chronological reality of that distance. A light year is the distance light travels in 1 Earth year. Because that region of Sagittarius is 120 light-years away, the sender would have transmitted the signal in the 1850s. That was long before humanity even invented the radio. Whoever or whatever sent that incredibly powerful beam did so blindly. They had absolutely no way of knowing we would be listening. They had no way to know we even existed. We are left with 2 possibilities. Either this was a freak alignment of cosmic forces that perfectly mimicked an artificial signal and will never repeat, or it was a deliberate beacon sent by an unimaginable mind. For exactly 72 seconds out of the 13.8 billion years the universe has existed, something spoke. And because we only caught a fleeting glimpse as our planet rotated through the dark, we will never know what it said.